mass airflow sensor.
Done caught you working off camera.
Working off camera. Somebody didn't pick up the camera.
Yeah, you right. Well, obviously, since we really wasn't doing much anyways.
No, not really. So, we got a new mass airflow sensor. And when we got the new mass airflow sensor, we realized that the new mass airflow sensor didn't fit the old gearbox lid. But it also didn't fit the old intake tube. So we went and got another intake tube. But we have a throttle body off of like a 95. Mass airflow sensor off of like a 97. Intake tube off of
Whatever trick that was.
I don't know what this came off of. It was in the back of a Ranger. That's all I know. So the issue we're having now is that it fits this side. I can't get it on the throttle body.
Yeah, the throttle body may be a little too big.
Might be. And so we're struggling a little bit. So we got two options. We're going to take the throttle body off because whichever option we choose, I think it's going to have to come off anyway. Take the throttle body, try to force it in here, then clamp it down real good and hope it don't come off. Or option B, we go back to the junkyard and get a different throttle body that fits this because we know it fits this.
Yeah, so either way, we're going to have to take it off.
Either way, it's got to come off. So we're going to go ahead, pull it off. Hopefully we can get it to fit the intake tube, because then we could go ahead and fire this thing up and see what it's going to do. We've got new plugs, new wires, and we're still having a little bit of an issue with our throttle cable reaching where it's supposed to reach. So that's cool. We know where some of those are too. So anyway, whatever we got to do, this sucker should be pretty much completely assembled today. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
If all goes right, which we know, not typical.
Not at Coops' house.
Not here.
Well, we got everything hooked back up, sort of.
Sort of.
And we also remembered that there's an extra hole in this tube.
That could have been part of our problem, because we had a massive vacuum leak because there was an extra hole in it. But we got it to work. We didn't have to go get another throttle bottle. We put a little lube on the tube.
Nothing like PB blaster.
Little PV blaster, little lube on the tube, and got it on the throttle body. Got everything else plugged in. We haven't tried to fire it yet, so we're gonna see if it'll fire up. And then if it does, and whatever, we're gonna put new plugs and wires on it. But my patience, it's a problem.
You are very impatient.
I'm impatient, so we're gonna try to crank it. And I don't know if it was better or not.
I don't know either. Well, it does sound a lot better while it's idling.
Definitely sounds better.
A lot better.
Sounds better. So we'll go ahead. We'll replace plugs and wires. CJ, if you remember him from the Duramax videos, he comes over every now and then. I was talking to him last night and was telling him that there's some issues with this thing, and he was like, hey, you could have bad fuel pressure up there, so that way if the fuel pressure is low, whenever you could really give it throttle, it's starving. So that could be part of the problem. We've got a new fuel filter, but not a fuel pump. Filter's probably stopped up. And if you guys remember, we had old gas in this thing, and I just put like 4 or 5 gallons on top of it. So we may end up having to just drain the whole tank and start over.
It mixed all of that gas together, so it just ruined the new gas.
And there's no telling what that fuel filter looks like either. So anyway, we'll go ahead and change out these plugs and wires and then fire this joker up. I think that's going to help a lot. Time will tell.
Oh, turns out we got the wrong wires.
Oh, plug wires. Immediately I knew they were too short.
Yeah, which is fine because we got to run back to Clouds anyways to turn this power steering pump back in.
Yep.
And we got to run back to the junkyard and get a new throttle cable. So.
Yep. So there's a few things we need to do anyways, and we got to have the hose for the intake.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that because
the intake.
Yeah, because that water pump is still open.
It do be. So we got to get that situated, and yeah. After that, we should be all right. Maybe. Probably.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Hopefully.
Anywho, we're gonna pull this power steering pump off, and I don't know where you put the pullers, but
Oh, they're in the back of the square body.
okay, I'll get them, and then we'll pull that off.
So after some labor-extensive day today,
It's been a long day, and we haven't even done anything.
we got a new throttle cable that fits now.
Do you have a throttle cable that fits?
New spark plug wires.
New spark plug wires. New plugs fixing to be.
Oh, and a new water pump.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about it now, actually. So, we ended up going with a different water pump because the one that is currently in here has a huge water neck on it, and it was going to be just really difficult to to try to make that work with, you know, attaching it to the intake, because we did away with the heater hose. So we're changing the water pump, and that way we can just run one little hose and get that like it needs to be. But also, we don't know how good the water pump actually is. Could be a problem.
Yeah, and we don't want it to go out while we're on the track.
That's the last thing we need. So, our boy Johnny, heck of a salesman. He was like, why don't you buy this one? And I was like, okay. So
Don't take much convincing.
Don't take much convincing. But then you made the point of, if it goes out on the track, then we're in trouble. I agree.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we're changing spark plugs and wires. We're gonna change the water. Well, we'll change spark plugs and wires. Then I want to see how it runs. Then we'll change the water pump, because the water pump I think is gonna suck.
I don't think it'd be too bad.
Maybe not. I'm not excited about it though.
Gross.
I think I know why it runs so bad.
Nah, those are practically brand new. I think they got a few more miles on them. Ah, yeah. I think
That's awful.
There ain't no spark getting through that, pal.
It ought to run better.
It oughta.
It ought to run better.
Well, all the spark plugs and spark wires are all in.
Yeah, it needed it.
Yeah, those. Yeah, those are all rough.
Yeah.
And then one of the spark plug wires are also
Pulled apart.
Yep, pull apart.
So this sucker may have been running on 4 cylinders. Not gonna lie, it's running so terrible.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. But anyway, it's got all new spark plug wires, all new spark plugs, got a new mass airflow sensor. It's got to run better than it did.
Gotta.
Got it.
So let's find out.
It ain't never drilled like that. Maybe it's actually trying to fire now.
There's no way, because we took them off.
One at a time.
And yeah, exactly. So I wonder if they were misfiring or wasn't firing at all, and we just had the wires right the first time. We didn't cross nothing up. I know that for a fact. Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, but that was horrible.
It was probably firing on some cylinders that wasn't firing before.
They're just full of gas. They just ain't burn off.
Because that was scary. It was also smoking a lot too.
It really was. That was crazy.
So I wonder if it was just firing some cylinders that wasn't firing at all.
I guess that's a possibility. All right, guys. So it's the next day. I'm back in the shop, and I've spent a little bit of time today kind of looking over things, doing a little bit of research, trying to figure out why I still have a backfire issue and a super, super lazy throttle, which is going to be an absolute problem if we're racing this thing at the Freedom Factor. We need a snappy throttle, something that's going to work out. But we found the issue after a whole lot of digging and trying to figure it out. And it was so simple that it almost makes me angry that I figured it out. But let me show you guys real quick what the issue was. So my buddy CJ came over today. Other CJ. Not the CJ that you guys know from Duramax. Actually, this is CJ2, so we're just going to call him Deuce. You cool with that?
Deuce.
Go by Deuce? All right. So he came over today, and we kind of started going around over some things on the engine and realized that there is a vacuum port on the back of the fuel pressure regulator. So we thought maybe that was the problem. So we went to Clouds, got some vacuum line, we hooked that up, ran it to the intake, rerouted the vacuum line that actually goes to our brake booster here because the brakes felt absolutely horrible when I backed up to the fence and backed down. So we've got all the vacuum stuff figured out, but even still, that wasn't the problem. The problem ended up being the coil, which is really, really dumb because CJ asked me, Hunter asked me, I've asked myself, everybody has asked me, is the coil okay? And I was like, absolutely, the coil is perfect because we have bright white hot spark on every single plug wire. But I went to the junkyard today because I was to the point that I was just going to change the entire engine harness, thinking maybe there was an issue with that. while I was there, I went ahead, grabbed another coil, came back, decided I was going to plug that in first thing before I swapped the engine harness. And I'll just show you the difference. So we'll hit the key. And I still hadn't ran a wire for the exciter on the starter. But the new coil is on, so we'll jump the starter like we always do. So in case you can't tell, night and day difference. Absolutely 100% improvement just simply by changing the coil, which is absolutely dumb and absolutely aggravating because we've spent so much time working on this and trying to get it right. But the good news is it's fixed. I feel a little bit better. I'm definitely less stressed than I was because if we didn't have this thing running like this weekend, there's no way we're going to make it to the Frito factory. But we got this joker running. Runs really, really good. Sounds good. The throttle is nice and responsive now. Maybe not as good as it could be, but definitely better. So now what we have to do is go ahead and fix and finish up our serpentine system on the front of the engine. I have decided to go ahead and change out that water pump because the water neck on the current pump just won't work with a hose to be able to tie it back in to the intake. So I've got a new water pump. We need to do some modification to the original alternator bracket so that we can clear the hose and all that stuff, put a belt back on it, and then this joker should be good to go for its first actual test drive. Minus a little bit of wiring. We got to hook up an electric fan, solder some connections that we had in there and all that stuff. But very minor stuff. But that's what we're going to do next. We're going to go ahead, tear all this stuff off the front, get the new water pump on, put the serpentine belt on. We should be in good shape. I'm feeling pretty good. What about you, CJ?
I feel great.
CJ feels great. So we're going to get this replaced. We should be good.
All right, well, we got our bracket fixed. We got the new water pump on, and things didn't go quite like I thought they would go there. That is definitely kinked off, but at least we won't be pouring coolant out of there. So CJ got the new water pump swapped. The pulleys are going back on. We're going to stick the belt on, and then we're going to have to crank this thing up, run some coolant into the radiator, let it circulate a little bit, and hopefully this joker, hopefully it doesn't run hot. But anyway, we've got all new stuff, lots of new stuff now, more than we thought we would have to have. So we should be okay, and then, I don't know, hopefully this thing circulates the coolant like it's supposed to. I know it won't spit it on the floor, so there's that.
All right, guys, so we got all the coolant hoses back on, everything hooked up, truck is running really, really good. We have the temperature gauge hooked up, and it's reading about middle ways, but I'm honestly kind of wondering if it's reading accurate. We let the truck run for a while, and it's obviously not running hot because nothing came out of the radiator, and we don't have a catch can on it. So we're good there. It's not running hot, but I don't know an accurate temperature, I don't think. So what I'm going to do is let this thing cool overnight, and then I'll check the gauge tomorrow and see if it's come down. If it has, I know it's reading accurate. So right now it's hanging around what should be operating temperature, but it's not changing when I turn it off or turn it on, and it's been sitting for a little bit and it hadn't changed. So it could be that it could come down once it completely cools down. So hopefully by tomorrow that thing's all the way down. We'll say the oil pressure gauge is not reading, I don't think it's reading accurate at all because it's up about halfway, and whenever I shut the truck off, it doesn't change, and I can turn the key back on, doesn't change, so it's always reading about halfway. So we definitely have some sort of problem right there, but that's no big deal. If it comes down to it, I'll just put a mechanical gauge on it because I do want to be able to watch the oil pressure on this thing as we're racing it and all of that good stuff. So we're making serious progress, which makes me really happy. So that being said, tomorrow, Hunter will be back. So we're going to be getting this thing out of the shop, driving it around for the very first time, and seeing exactly how it's going to perform and how things are going to act. So if we need to work anything out, we can. So this is good news because it keeps us on schedule to be able to drive this thing and then hopefully be able to get the cage and everything in it next week, which it is supposed to be delivered on Monday, which you guys are seeing this on Sunday, so it'll be tomorrow. Fingers crossed. So we'll be getting all the cage in, getting the safety equipment installed, and we are going to be well on our way to racing this thing at the Freedom Factory. So I'm going to call it a night tonight. Be back out here tomorrow, and we're going to see how this thing does when we actually try to drive it around. Welcome back.
Hey.
You weren't here yesterday. You missed out on all the fun.
I did. I had a wedding to go to, so.
I'll forgive you this time. But you've heard the truck run. What's the thing?
It sounds 100 times better than when I was here the last time.
At least 100 times. So it's running much better, which means I said last night on camera that when you got here today, I was going to wait for you before I drove it for the first time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now you're here.
Yeah, so now we can drive it.
We can drive it. Here's hoping everything goes according to plan. I did determine our temperature gauge, definitely not reading right. It's not running hot. That's a good sign. Definitely not reading right. Oil pressure gauge, same story. So I'm gonna be ordering a couple of standalone gauges for both of those that I can just put in the truck. That way we have no issues, nothing to worry about, and we have accurate readings because we don't really want to blow this thing up.
Yeah, not only that, when we put the roll cage in there, we can also mount it on the roll cage, so.
So we're probably gonna keep the gauge cluster for you know, RPM and stuff like that, or we might do away with it. I don't really know yet. We'll figure that out, but as of right now, it's time to crank this thing up, back it up, see how she does.
Go ahead.
Oh, we got an electric fan going too.
Oh yeah, electric fan as well.
Yeah. I swear, I turned it on the key, so like when I turn the key on, it's on all the time, so I don't forget it. Why must you let me down this way?
There it goes. God, please, son. There is something hanging on the rear. Huh?
Brakes are terrible.
Well, don't go too fast. There's so much stuff in the bed. Bed's not bolted down. Oh my god. That thing is ridiculous.
Hey, right now, the brakes definitely need help. I'm standing on these son of a gun.
Yeah, don't go too fast.
She'll run.
There goes the airbag.
I just need to clean the back of the truck out, that's all.
That's true. We also need to check the rear diff fluid before you start doing all that.
You're right. This Joker's got some power, bro.
Oh, it's only one wheel pilling, so.
I'm still genuinely surprised, though. Let's go pick up our junk and we'll play some more.
Here we go again. He's gonna leave me. This is sketchy back here.
What?
This is sketchy back here.
Yeah, everything's sketchy. Look at this seat, bro. Ain't nothing.
Well, that's not good. Well, bud, what you think?
She rips. She rips. For a piece of junk, she rips.
For a piece of junk where we took about 4 different vehicles, made one.
We made one, and it runs pretty good, and honestly, feels pretty strong.
Yeah.
So, we had a little bit of an issue, and something just happened. Obviously, as you can see right here, we have a rat nest of wires just hanging out here. So, my theory is something touched that it wasn't supposed to touch, and it just popped 2 fuses on the inside. So the truck shut off, and now when we turn the key on, the fuel pump's not running. So, replace a couple fuses, I think we'll still be good to go, I hope. I'm actually genuinely impressed, and the fact that we got this running right last night, we were able to drive it today, that still gives us a little bit of time to get the cage in and get this thing painted. So we're still in really, really good shape to make it at the Freedom Factory for the Danger Ranger 9000. I was starting to stress out just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I've been worried because we do have a couple of big sponsors for this deal that I'm going to tell you guys about in the next video. You'll see all of it then. But we pulled this off. We got it running. So all we have left is installing our safety equipment, throwing a slick paint job on it, stickering this thing up, getting down, and giving Cletus a run for his money. But guys, now we have to push this thing back to the shop because I don't want to set it on fire. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out that one right there because YouTube thinks it's going to be the best thing for you to watch next. And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. We'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.